Hey guys, it's Rachel, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I took my plain Jane bar area in my kitchen and turned it into this masterpiece using just joint compound and paint. But before we do that, let me pause you right there and rewind back to the beginning. For those of you who do not know, we have built this house from the ground up with the help of some of our friends who are really knowledgeable in the area, but mostly we've done a lot of the work ourselves, and I'd like to take you through that process and show you real quick where we started and kind of where that's taken us over the last almost 3 years now. But we're getting there. So in the first picture, I want to show you where the kitchen's going to be. That window is looking out into the sunroom now. You can see the back entry in the window there. That's where the mudroom utility / laundry room is going to be. And where you see those 8 2x4s right there, that is the future bar. A friend of mine's husband came and started laying the flooring, and those pipes sticking up are where the sink and dishwasher drain are going to be. This is another view of the bar once it's been drywalled and more floor laid, then starting to put up the light fixtures, and the room is starting to take shape and really enjoying this part. So you guys went with me on this journey trying to pick out tile, and it was quite the process, and by the time that we were able to afford the tile, it had already been another year and I couldn't get that particular tile anymore. But more on that later. So this is what the kitchen's looking like while we're waiting for cabinets. This was a whole entire nightmare trying to make it work without a kitchen sink. Washing the dishes in the bathtub, cooking on crock pot, a deep fryer, that sort of thing. Not having cabinets or places to put anything, but patience paid off, and I feel like the cabinets were an absolute dream once we finally got them. I do kind of have a rant video up about waiting for the cabinets in my videos. I'll try to link it if I can. But this is what the cabinets ended up looking like, and then the countertops were installed probably like a week or so later. And this was probably a whole entire year after we started the process of building the house, so it was quite a while. For those who don't know, I have a special needs child who's waiting on a heart-lung transplant, requires tube feed, lots of medication, lots of attention, and not having a kitchen was very hard. But it has been a blessing in disguise also, because it's made me so much more appreciative of modern conveniences and the things that I do have. And now that I have the kitchen and it's almost completely finished, I'm so grateful and thankful for what I have. I think sometimes having to wait on things makes you appreciate them more when you finally have them. Here's a view of the kitchen, the sink faucets, everything's kind of coming together and starting to feel like a house. So this was a really exciting day for me. Still needed to wait on the dishwasher, that's fine. The tile still needs done, switch plates, all that kind of stuff that needed done. I wasn't really worried about them finishing the drywall back there over those brackets that are holding the bar top on, because I knew I was just going to tile right over that. So with the bar, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, because everybody kept putting their feet on it, and I felt like I was having to repaint it all the time because it was getting feet marks, like dirt marks all over it. Just really got me thinking, what do I want to do in that area? I really like the look of brick, but I don't know if any of you have ever looked into the faux brick. It's super expensive. So I was trying to come up with a different solution. I thought about peel and stick tile. I thought about shiplap or board and batten, but in the end I decided I really like the look of the brick, especially like the German schmear or lime wash brick. And I wanted to do it with this tape and joint compound paint mixture that I've seen a lot of people using, instead of opting for the panels that people often get. The only thing that was holding me back from doing it sooner was that I was thinking, as often as I change my mind, or if I don't like it, or if it starts to chip with people bumping their feet against it and I wanted to change it, how difficult would that be? And then I discovered really all I'd have to do is sand it down to the drywall. So I decided that was the way I was going to go. So sometimes I get really hung up on stupid little details, and part of the thing I didn't like about the paint was that the tape that you use comes wider than what you would use brick mortar. So I had a stencil that I used to do another project, and I thought, well, I could use that instead of using the tape. And this was the first part of where I started to go wrong. This was way too difficult to place and get level on the wall. Once I did finally get it placed and I did the first little patch of it, I realized very quickly that I'm an idiot, because I'm going to have to wait for each part to dry before I put the stencil back on, or I'm just going to smear joint compound all over the wall and make a big mess. My next screw up was the paint. I didn't buy any new paint because I'm like, oh, I have craft paint in the barn that I can use. Not thinking that that's frozen over and been in there for 2 years in storage. So the paint was no good. It was like a big chunky, disgusting mess that come out like in one big wad like glue or something. Where we live, it doesn't make sense to run out and get new stuff because it's just too far, so I made do with what I had. And I used this color and the white, the beigeish white color, and kind of mixed them together to create the brick color. So the bottom piece is the stencil, and on top of that is where I switched to tape. Like I said, it's not easy to run out and get anything in the area I live, so I literally took strips of painter's tape that I already had and cut it into the appropriate size strip to put on the wall so that I could make these bricks. I don't recommend doing this. It took me incredibly too long to do this. It would have been so much easier had I had the proper tools before I started the job. But I wanted this to be a zero cost product. I already had the mud left over from building the house, and I already had the paint and the tape, so we just made do with what we had. I literally took the joint compound and smeared it on the wall with my hand, and then I had a paper plate with my paint mixture that I stippled onto each section while the joint compound was wet. And then I went ahead right after that and pulled the tape off, and I worked in sections. There are a million videos on YouTube on how to do this by people who know way better than me. I will link some below, but that was my process. And after the first night, this is what it looked like. I wanted to make sure that it had plenty of time to set up and dry, so I didn't want to like deform the shape of the bricks while the compound was soft, so I wanted to at least give it till overnight in the middle of the next day to dry. I have to be honest here, I was really nervous with how this was looking. I wasn't really sure that I liked it, and I felt like it kind of clashed with my little tile mosaic over the stove, but I tried not to panic too much. I thought we'll see how it looks tomorrow when I put on the what I call whitewash and paint the grout and stuff like that. So I just took a cheap angle brush that I already had and kind of went in between the fake brick and painted in the grout, and then dragged the paintbrush over the brick to kind of tone down the vibrancy of the color and make it look a little more like that German schmear or lime wash that I really like. I still wasn't completely sold yet, but I definitely was liking it a lot better with the toned down look than I was prior to the whitewash. So this is after I completed all of the whitewashing, and then I decided that I wanted to go in and kind of seal that because I figured it's just gonna flake off if people are sitting there like bumping their feet and stuff against that. So I decided to use this polyacrylic and give it a nice coat all over the entirety of the fake brick and see if I couldn't get that to seal a little bit. The problem I was running into, see that like dripping down? It was very runny and like milky, and it kept like running down onto the brick, and I didn't want that look, so I had to be very light-handed with it and just do a few coats, and then I let it dry in between. Finally done with that. And I want to give you a close-up because I feel like of all the videos that I've watched people doing this, I don't feel like they've ever really shown a close-up look at what it actually looks like and the texture of it. So I want to make sure I showed that to you. Now, I felt like it was missing something, and I really like the look of the corbels that I see on a lot of people's kitchen islands. So after thinking about it, I decided I really, really wanted the corbels, and I justified being able to purchase these because the project itself so far had cost me $0. So I thought all of the money that I saved I could put in the corbels. I don't know, girl math, I guess. I'll link the exact corbels that I used down below, but these are them. They are light, and I kind of like dropped them on the counter here so you can see. They sound like that thick foam stuff. I'll have to look on there to see what they're made of. I'm pretty sure it did say wood. I don't know if you can hear that sound. But anyway, that's what they look like in the back. And I was trying to decide how to hang these, and I'm pretty sure there's a bracket or something you get that makes them hang and secure really easily, but I didn't do that part. I just thought that I would screw them into the base. So as you can see, I've already attached this one because I wanted to have all the trial and error out of the way before I attempted to show you what I did. So under here, you can see where my brackets are. I had thought about putting one in the middle there, but I think what's going to happen is it's just going to get bumped a lot with people sitting there and moving their legs. So here is a form that I made up so that I would know where to put the screws when I screw in the corbel from behind. That way I can just kind of like hang it on there like you would a picture. So there's my little form that I made. I'm going to put that on the wall, and I went ahead and measured from the corner there so I knew how far off they were so they could be somewhat symmetrical, and then I measured how far off here before the first screw. Then I kind of like added that number so I would know exactly how far I need to put the first screw. So I put my little mold on and I screwed my things in. It's a little crooked, but I got it on there, and I thought, you know what I need to do next time is maybe go back in and put a little bit of like caulking around them just to secure them and to make them to where you can't see the little cracks underneath, like unless you're getting down like low like that, you can kind of see where there's like a little gap there. That's where I think I need to caulk them to kind of make sure they stay secure and that there's no gap in between them and the counter. But this is what we got. I'm super, super happy. So we went from this, and with just some paint and stuff that I had laying around the house already, we were able to turn it into this little beauty, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out. Again, another before and after. You'll have to let me know what you think about this project, and leave me a comment. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.